Welcome to the PA Awards 2019.
My name is Rabson Shumba.
My name's Joseph Mugo.
I am the Chief Judge tonight. I chair this particular event.
I'm the Chief Executive Officer at ABMC International and also the brains behind the African PA magazine, which we initiated 3 years ago. That was in 2016. And this was in culmination in terms of building capacity and bringing the professionalism and light into the scene of the professional personal assistant. And we've been trying to do this over the years in giving a benchmark for the personal assistant, in them being given the opportunity to highlight what they're able to do within the professional. So this evening we are currently giving an opportunity for the Kenyan, Ugandan and Tanzania opportunities for the personal assistants to be able to come out and be able to showcase what they're able to present in terms of competency as PAs. And we normally run this in collaboration with 2 conferences that we run each and every year. So this leads to the final segment of the evening, where we award the best PA for the East Africa and also for the East African regions, that is Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania.
I am very excited that we are remembering those that are making serious contributions to organizations. They may be in the back seat, but their results, they speak so much for them, even in their absence. So the main award that we are giving tonight is that of the overall winner for the East African PA Awards. Those that have excelled over the year, those are the ones that we're recognizing tonight.
All the best for those who will win, and we encourage all the PAs across Africa to join this movement and be enlightened in terms of what they can be able to achieve in being professional personal assistants.
There are many times that Joshua made recommendations to his boss Moses. He gave suggestions that eventually worked so well, and it made them to gain victory. In the book of Joshua, Exodus, chapter 17, there is a story of a man, Aaron, and another man called Hur. This is when Joshua was busy fighting their enemies, and Moses and these 2 gentlemen were somewhere on a hill. And the Bible records that when Moses lifted his hands to God, they used to win the battle. But when his hands went down, they were losing from the Amalekites. And when they figured that out, Aaron and Hur were lifting the hands of Moses so that they continue winning the battle. But one thing that I would like you to note, while these 2 gentlemen were with Moses on the hill, the commander of the army was his PA. The person who was delivering something that Moses could appreciate so much was his PA. There are things that you can do as a PA, and someone would say, this was worth the person that you are PA for. As in, it is incredible, it is great, it is big. My parting shot will be on that story of hands lifted up. When they were lifting their hands, the boss was winning, even though he was not the one who was doing the work himself. He lifting hands up means that I am not holding a gun for war. Because having a gun in my hands means I have the power in my hands. But when hands are lifted up, you're simply saying I do not have any weapon in my hands. That power is with God. As a PA, there are things that you may hold in your hands and will work against you. When you say that I'm not holding any grudge, I'm not holding any pride, any self-pity, hatred, I'm not suffering low self-worth, I know who I am. When you know who you are, then you will lead your boss with excellence and dedication. I'd like to pray for us as we begin this meeting. Dear loving Father, we thank you so much for bringing us together into this place. Father, we thank you that today we are celebrating men and women who have gone through this program. How we pray that this night will be a great night. It will be fun. It will be a wonderful evening. And everyone will enjoy and everyone will feel that they have had a good time. So we commit this meeting to you and we pray trusting in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Jenga. Come on, you can give him a better hand of applause. So, I think this can be turned off. Part of my job as your mistress of ceremony tonight, and Sarah has an interesting name, I keep forgetting. What is it? MC? Names for MCs nowadays? Mistress of ceremony. Is to keep time. And since we're already falling behind on time, I will reduce people's time. So when I invite you to say something or to speak, or if you're on the program, please keep looking at me, because I will be right there with you. All right, so let's move forward. This event has been made possible by Mr. and Mrs. Mathenge. Please, a big hand of applause. Victoria Karanja is an executive director and co-founder at ABMC International Limited, Kenya and Uganda, the African PA magazine, where she has devoted 90% of her practice to finance for the last 7 years. She has an extensive experience in unusual in-house training for corporates, both the board and senior management. Victoria is a highly self-motivated and ambitious woman with a strong commercial awareness and demonstrates big customer focus and strong leadership skills that have demonstrated in the most challenging work environment. She possesses excellent multilingual communication skills with a strong background in finance, business management, having graduated from the University of Wales, Cardiff, and University of Gloucestershire. She is married to the most humble one and only Joseph Mathenge, and they are blessed with 2 children, Helen and Carl Mathenge. A warm hand of applause for the children. Joseph is the group chairman and founder of ABMC International Kenya Limited and Uganda, the African PA magazine. He has over 10 years of experience in the training and conference industry, having worked across the globe and across Africa countries, establishing the same training business units in Africa in the past. He founded ABMC International 7 years ago with a vision of growing a brand that brought the global 21st century business trends in Africa to ensure that the African continent matches and keeps up with global trends. It's with this same vision that Joseph saw a gap and potential in the development of the African PA profession on the print and research areas. Within the African PA magazine was born on November 2015, and support of the team through tough economic times, he has funded and contributed to the development and establishment of the African PA magazine. Now to the African PA Awards for East, West, and South Africa regions. He forms a strong partnerships with the Global Academy of Finance, Management, and Accreditation player like the AAPM, African Academy of Project Management, who offer CPA and PA certification programs. He is married to the one and only Victoria, and both have the 2 kids, Helen and Carl. A big hand of applause for them.
Thank you, Ellie.
I'm sure we are not related, but from close. She's also called Eli Madenge. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You all look amazing from up here. Perhaps another applaud of clouds for each and every one of you. And as I start this particular meeting, I would like to thank you all for being here. Without you being here, this would not be a success. Mine will be just brief, and I'll hand over to Victoria, who is actually behind all this event. And we've also been working together for the longest period of time in terms of ensuring that the professional of personal assistant is known across Africa, just like any other professional. And that would lead me to my next step. I would like to perhaps recognize some of the executives that you have in the office, in the room. And I would start by recognizing the presence of the Nairobi Hospital, the CEO, Dr. Christopher Abey. Thank you. I also want to recognize he's also one of our nominees for the awards, and he's also the national chairman for the Kenya Executive and Secretaries, KENASA. It's called KENASA. It's one of the largest association for secretaries and government personal assistants. Where's Andrew? Thank you for the support. And without further ado, to also recognize the presence of our judges, wonderful keynote speakers who we had during the entire week, who gave presentation. Rabison, who definitely will be part and parcel of this. Amazing Sarah Rison. Beautiful Mercy Katera. And another keynote expert that we had during this week is called Teres. He's also from Zimbabwe. Thank you, Teres, for joining us. And all of you for being in this particular congregation. So with those few remarks, mine is just to give a brief history about the awards and where we've come from and what is the overall objective. And then I'll hand over to Victoria. We started in 2013, and the whole idea was back in terms of training and capacity development that we've done across Africa, from West Africa to East Africa to Southern Africa. And we realized that there is a gap where personal assistants are not taking up the mandate in terms of being recognized, in terms of being business partners, in terms of contributing to the bottom line of the organization. They play a key role in terms of ensuring smooth business processes with each and every organization. And we thought, let's start by publishing a magazine where they can be able to get insights in terms of best practices. Other than just attending conferences and trainings, they're able to benchmark on what is happening across the world, just like any other professional. With that, we decided to take it a notch higher in terms of awarding the best PAs across East Africa. And then perhaps later on, as we grow the presence, we're able to move towards the African perspective. So we've formally, within the last 3 years, congregated within the Eastern African region. We did the first one in 2016, and then we went to 2017, and then 2018. And I will not leave this presence without recognizing Lucia, who was the finalist for last year from Law Society, International School of Kenya. She's with us this evening. And with those few remarks, mine is to thank you so much and leave Victoria to butter the presentation, and I'll give her support as much as possible. But with those few remarks is to just thank you once again. Thank you, Pastor Jenga, for the insights. And what he was talking briefly as I was seated there is how can we be PAs and become strategic business partners to our bosses and to organizations. And he was putting it on the Bible perspective, bringing it to his own perspective, and I hope we've gathered something and be able to take it from here. So with those few remarks, let me say thank you to African PA Magazine team, who are also in the team, ABMC team, who is also within the team. Thank you for making this presence and this particular conference and awards, the awards success. And I thank you so much, and without you, I would not be this successful, and we hope that that in the growing years we're able to join hands together and we're able to participate and collaborate in making it a success. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I will start with a verse, not really a verse. What is your why? Why did you get out of bed this morning? Why did you eat what you ate? Why did you wear what you wore? Why did you come here? The big why. We are here to connect. Life is about people. And how do we do that? There are basically three things. I'll dwell on the three. There is love, time, death. Sorry to use the strong word death, but these are the three obstructions that connects every single person on earth. At the end of the day, we long for love. Time, they say, it heals all wounds, but they don't talk about your dead tissue that would decompose. Love, they all say it's all about dignity and connect. Protect the idea. No matter what yesterday was a lie, bad always starts a new day with a song. So I'll end up giving success principles that I learned from the Eagles, and this has been the best part of me. Team ABMC, they know it all. Eagles don't fly alone, and at high altitudes, they don't fly with sparrows, ravens, and other small birds, meaning stay away from narrow-minded people, those that bring you down. Eagle flies with eagle, keep good company. Eagles have an accurate vision. They have an ability to focus on something as far as 5 kilometers away. No matter the obstacles, the eagle will not move. He's focused from the prey until he grabs it. Meaning, have a vision and remain focused. No matter what the obstacles, you will succeed. To you nominees, this is not the end of the world. Even if you don't win, we are always winner when we are coming out of here. Eagle don't eat dead things. They feed on fresh prey, meaning do not rely on your past success. Keep looking for new frontiers to conquer. Leave your past where it belongs, in the past. Eagles love the storm. When the clouds gather, eagles get excited. The eagle uses the storm to lift itself higher. Once it finds the wind of the storm, the eagle uses the raging storm to lift itself above the clouds. This gives eagle an opportunity to glide and rest its wings. In the meantime, all the other birds hide in the branches and the leaves of the tree. Meaning, face your challenge head on, knowing that this will make you emerge stronger and better than you are. We can use storms of our life to rise to greater heights. Achievers are not afraid to rise to greater heights. Achievers are not afraid of challenges. Rather, they relish them and use them profitability. Eagle prepares for training. They remove the feathers and soft grass in the nest so that the young ones get uncomfortable in preparation for flying, and eventually flies when it becomes unbearable to stay in the net. Meaning, leave your comfort zone, there is no growth there. My last one, which is my favorite, when the eagle grows old, he makes his feather becomes weak and cannot take him as fast and as high as it should. This makes him weak and could make him die. So he retires to a place far away in the mountains. While there, he plucks out the weak feathers on his body and breaks and claws against the rocks until it's completely bare. A very bloody, painful process. Then he stays in his hiding place until he has grown new feathers, new beaks, new claws, and then he comes out flying higher than before. Meaning, We occasionally need to shed off all habits, no matter how difficult, things that burden us or add no value to our lives should let me go of. To all the nominees, I wish you nothing but success. Remember, we are all in this journey together and we are all winners. Thank you and best of luck to everyone.
A big hand of applause to them again. Great. Now it's that time of the night where we eat and get ready for the big event. So food is served right through those doors. Our guest speaker is Robinson Schumer, a renowned inspirational author, global speaker and entrepreneur. He has spoken at many platforms, including TEDx, the co-author of 101 Great Ways to Enhance Your Career alongside Brian Tracy and others. His writings were featured in Performance 360 magazine along POTUS, Donald Trump, Zig Ziglar, Stephen Covey, among others. He has received top 100 Influencers Awards for thought leadership on over 6 different lists, both in Zimbabwe and internationally. He is the CEO of Vumilia Africa Group in South Africa, as well as the founder of a non-profit called Touching Lives Africa Foundation. He sits on a number of corporate boards and is an internal examiner for Monash University, as well as business school lecturer for a number of universities. He lives to develop leaders for the continent of Africa. A big warm applause for Robinson Schumer.
Thank you very much. 1, 2. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I was actually wondering who you're talking about, but thank you very much. I've been given 15, but I'll cut to 5. We'll chop the number of minutes so that we maintain our time. We have had a wonderful week in this place with a number of PAs from the region. What I loved about the people that we had is that the whole group cut across multiple nationalities. We're talking about Eritrea, we're talking about Uganda, Kenya, you name it. And Nigeria, I don't have to forget about Nigeria. We had a good discourse around the many things that we need to see in our land, on our continent. And that has shaped my brief talk with you this evening. I've titled it, Taking Africa to the Top. Having traveled across the continent and a few other continents, I've noticed that, and it resonates with a friend of mine who said, China has a plan for Africa. England has a very good plan for Africa. America actually has a plan for Africa, but Africans don't have a plan for Africa. It is quite saddening to say that we have sort of reduced ourselves to fighting one another, not fighting the problems we have. It's saddening to say that we have ceased to realize that we need to be contributors of what can be, not consumers of what already is. It's also saddening to say we've ceased to realize what we have on our hands. Like in the Bible, God says, what you have in your hands, Moses. So, as I talk about Africa, I'm passionate about it because, as she said, I love to develop leaders wherever I go. Communities are dying. The biggest scourge in Africa is not HIV, is not hunger, is a lack of credible leadership. Look across
the continent. I'm not talking just about political spaces, I'm talking also about in the homes. I'm talking about communities, where people lack a desire to change the fortunes of Africa. We now have to look elsewhere for solutions, and yet we have it in us to produce the Africa that we desire to see. Few pointers. Number one, and these relate also to our lives. These are personal development pointers that I'm giving you that I need you to take home. As we cap tonight, as we look at honoring those that have done well in their areas of endeavor. The first thing, and I talked about it earlier on, let's not be comfortable in what already exists. Africa, let's be contributors, not just consumers. So it's contributor versus consumer. The second thing that's very important, we have listened to a number of frequencies, and every single one of us, I'm sure we've seen that growing up. Many people speak to us, and in the age that we are in, everybody desires our attention. There's so many voices that come our way that seek to discourage us from pursuing our dreams and our visions and our ambitions. Let's be watchful of words that come our way that seek to imprison us and tell us that we are limited and tell us that we can't do what we need to do. Let's be very clear about what we get into our minds, because what we entertain, ears and eyes are the gates to the soul. What you hear over and over again shapes your belief system. What belief system do we have about the continent of Africa? Our belief system, and whatever you believe, you begin to do it. Whatever you do is shaping your habits, and your habits shape your lifestyle. So we can look 20 years from now to what Africa decided to listen to. We can look 20 years from now, look at our lifestyles, and we realize that we're simply following a script that somebody gave us about how limited we are. Story is told of a young man who missed class one day, and the professor gave a problem for people to solve. He says, this problem does not have a solution. Peter didn't go to school that day. And as a matter of fact, the following day, or that night, Peter got a message to say, there's a problem that we're told to solve. But they forgot to tell Peter that the professor said the problem does not have a solution. Peter cracked the problem throughout the night. The following day, the professor says, hands up those who managed to crack this particular problem, and only one hand went up, Peter's hand. Everybody looked back, and because they'd been conformed and given boundaries of how to think, they looked at Peter, and Peter went to the front and began to present the solution to the problem. Watch what you hear, because it's shaping the lifestyle that you lead. So the second point is about conformity versus confidence in ourselves as a continent. But thirdly, Africa is not short of ideas. We just need to start what we plan and finish everything we start. We are not short of good ideas. We, however, have taken our ideas and made them chairs. We sit on our ideas. We've taken ideas and we've shelved them. They became monuments. We look at them and we marvel, and other people come and implement ideas ahead of us, and we look like copycats. It's time. We take our ideas wherever they are and implement. Because in this life, you are not rewarded for just having an idea. You are rewarded for implementation of those ideas. On this particular point, I'm talking about contemplation versus completion. Lastly, we need to find like-minded people. As I started, I talked about unity across the continent of Africa. We have things that have divided us. Languages, we have multiplicity of languages, we have nationalities. Moving from Cape to Cairo, we should never see the boundaries that we see today. Find like-minded people. In the age of technology, you can combine efforts. You don't necessarily need to compete amongst your fellow brothers. We need to move away from competition to collaboration. It is very essential for such a time as this, as the continent of Africa, and even as we go back to our communities, every single one of us, as I summarize, that we realize that we own the future of the continent. And we need to leave a legacy for generations to come. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. It is very sad, however, to notice that cutting across communities, we are consuming. We are consumed with the appetite to consume everything that we have for now, for ourselves. We have to realize that there's a generation after us that will judge us very harshly years to come. And they will say, what did you contribute? Daddy, when everybody was doing this, what were you doing? Realize one thing. A revolution does not need multitudes. A revolution begins with you. We need to bring about transformation to the continent, but we can't transform the continent until we transform ourselves. Leadership begins at the point of managing yourself, managing your appetites, managing your thoughts, and managing your intentions. Let me end with this particular poem. Many of us get started, but we get discouraged. Many of us get started, but we never finish. Realize one thing in life, you are rewarded for getting to the end. Even if you have to limp all the way to the end, even if you have to crawl all the way to the end, that's where the results are. My passion for success is well carved out. My desire for significance is in motion. My hunger for greatness is insatiable. My quest for influence, apparent. I'm about to get started. And that's Africa speaking. I've been on the sidelines long enough. I've been hidden for a while. I've been lost with no guidance in sight. I've been submerged in ignorance. I'm about to get going. My purpose in hand, my plan in place, my goal so clearly spelled out. My energy welling up rapidly, my mind engaged and ready for what's ahead. I'm set, ready to move forward. I've wandered in the wilderness before. I've lost money, dignity. I've toiled producing nothing but not. I've begged for help with no one coming to me. I just got into the groove. It's time to move. As I engage in motion, please don't stop me. As I commence this particular phase, don't hinder me. As I move forward, don't stall me. My desire to complete what I started is sure. I start what I plan, and I finish what I start. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go back to our communities, wherever we come from, let's have this in mind. We owe future generations a good life. We owe future generations a legacy. Long after you're gone, what are people going to interface with that will show that you showed up at one point on this earth? Let us leave indelible marks on the sands of time. With that, I thank you.
A big round of applause again for Robinson. I hope you took notes. His first point, what he said was, let's not be food for thought. Let's not be consumers, let's be contributors. Great. Now we actually get into the fun stuff. So, we have very able judges sitting with us, so I'll introduce them briefly, and then I will share with you how the voting process will work. I hope some of you have gained liquid courage, food courage, because you need it. All right. Robinson is one of our judges. He's been here, he's spoken to you. Mercy, right in front of you, was the PA of the Year Africa in 2018. She is a trainer and a chartered executive assistant for the American Academy of Project Management. She is the executive assistant to the general manager of Serena Hotels, Uganda. She has a strong community, she has strong influence in community and social services with key certificates and an in-house trainer from the Franklin Covey's 5 Choices of Extraordinary Productivity and the 4 Disciplines of Execution. A big hand of applause for Mercy. Our third judge, Sarah Richson, is the Global Award-winning CEO of Richmel International Consultants, a micro-multinational leveraging smart partnerships to deliver excellence. She is the chairperson of Red Carpet Table Bank. She is a strategist, thought leader, and influencer with deep experience in human development. She is a leading emotional success coach who has held global leadership roles undertaking complex work across 20+ geographies. An expert in diversity and inclusion, as well as gender intelligence. She currently is the master trainer of the same for IFC, World Bank, in addition to master PA trainer for Bible Society and Ecobank. A big hand of applause for Sarah. Now, I will explain how the voting will go and what has already happened. We currently have 12 nominees. 10 are present today, 2 are from Tanzania and unfortunately are not here with us. So the first voting stage has already lapsed. It closed today at 2 p.m. It started on the 14th of this month to the 22nd. It was online voting. All of you got to participate. We will now proceed with our second voting, whereby, remember I talked about liquid carriage and food carriage? The nominees will come on stage and will get a minimum of 1 minute per question. So you will get 2 questions. For each question, you have 1 minute to respond. And the audience here will be judging and will vote online. And then the third will be the judges who will deliberate and then cumulatively will get who wins. So, there's 10 points. The first person gets 10 points, the second gets 9, the third gets 8, that way until we finish the 10 who are present. All right? So, James, waiting for you. And as we get that ready, I will have Lucia from last year, give you more courage, because we all need it. So briefly, Lucia Mwasia is the winner of the East African Peer Awards 2018. Please give a hand of applause for the company. She's a certified executive assistant from the Global Academy of Project Management. She's very enthusiastic and a motivational person, has a lot of passion for the PA field. She emphasizes on the need to always be heard and thinks outside the box, which is crucial for all executives. Lucia has an impressive track record working for the International School of Kenya, among other high-profile institutions. Again, a big round of applause for Lucia. Nominees, pay attention. She will give you insights on how you will perform.
Wow. May I repeat again that you all look good from here. Beautiful. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you heard, my name is Lucia Mwasia. I am a wife. I'm married to one husband. Anything can happen in Kenya, so my husband is only one. And I have 3 lovely children. I know every mother says that about their kids, but for real, mine are amazing. My daughter is here with me today. So, this profession in the past, the PA profession in the past, had not received the recognition it deserved. Previously, we were considered just as typists, filing clerks, and ladies who were just there to make tea for their supervisors. I like the way the PA profession has evolved. Right now, we are considered as business partners, and we play an integral part in the executive team. When I received the PA Award of the Year last year in May 2018, I received huge recognition from the International School of Kenya administration and the community, which includes the faculty and the parents at the International School of Kenya. And like I'm encouraging the finalists, I'm telling them, you know, any executive would enjoy working with the most recognized PA in the region. So just give it your best and be strong. Don't get scared of anything. It's never that serious, and even if you don't win, for you to get to this point, you are a star to all the finalists. Yeah. And the other thing, when I received the award as well, I got a certification and trainings from African PA, together with ABMC. I got my CPEA certification, all expenses paid for. Thank you, Vicky and Joseph. Thank you so much. And the other thing I wanted to tell these ladies is that networking is very important. And I know you all know that. You've seen, you need those votes. And you know this is where networking comes in. People who network a lot are known to be very successful. That's for sure. So I'm just encouraging you, you know, even if you don't win today, just get to grow your network. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that besides that, I got a gift hamper from the sponsors of the African PA. Yeah, thank you so much for that. And also, I wanted to talk about the finalists. I wanted to tell them that for you to get here, we believe in you. I believe in you. I've interacted with about half the crowd, yeah? And I was telling them, your family believes in you, your colleagues believe in you, and your friends as well. And that's why you received all these votes. We believe in you. It's never that serious. It's very important for you to win this award, but there can only be one winner. Even if you don't win, just know that we believe in you. And I know you'll continue just doing a good job, because as PAs, so much is expected from us. You know, our profession is very diverse, and it's very, like, when you go back to the office, it's not like we are not considered differently. Previously, we were just people who were just considered as tea girls, and people were just told, make copies for me. But now we are really like up there in decision making. Where I work at the International School of Kenya, sometimes my supervisor comes, who is the head of finance actually, he comes and he tells me, what do you think of this? So you feel like you belong. It's no longer a profession that people used to look at as, you know, you're just there, you just go and diminish, make tea or do copies and you go. Right now we are doing big things. This profession it can be fun, fulfilling, and very challenging at the same time. The other day I was telling my daughter, she went for an interview in one of the hospitals in Nairobi, and she came home and she told me, Mommy, I went through the process and it went very well. However, I was asked a question that I think we should sit down and discuss. So I asked her, what is it? My daughter tells me she was given a scenario where you're at the front office of the hospital. A man walks in, a couple, a very elderly couple with their son. The mother and the son, they're helping their father, the dad, not the husband, to sit down because he's very unwell. And as you're looking at them, you're ready to help them. They're coming to your desk. A diva walks in from this side and says, I want to see the doctor's plaza. I've never been here before, so where is the doctor's plaza? Please show me directions. And then you turn like this, there is the Nairobi governor, Mike Sonko. All of them together, 3 of them, they're just there waiting to help, to receive help from you. And you're one person at the front office. So she's telling me, Mom, I don't know how I answered it. And you know, it kept me thinking, you know, if my daughter is going through this right now, she's not a PA by profession, but I say that is what we go through at our places of work every day, admin assistants. We are faced with making decisions every day. We have to think on our feet every single day. And you have to go above and beyond the expectations of the supervisor. You have to go that extra mile, devotion to your work, be legit in everything that you do. And then, as I conclude, I cannot forget to emphasize the need for professional growth, ladies and gentlemen, which is very important right now. Our profession is evolving every day, and the world is changing. So we need to grow professionally, and this is where ABMC and African PA comes in. I wish to thank you so much for, you know, the courses that you tailor-make for us. We cannot say enough that what you've done is really commendable. You've done a good job over the years, and I can only say thank you so much, because you recognize our profession. Yeah, thank you so much for promoting this profession. And then also, I just want to wish all the finalists all the very best. Congratulations to the person who's going to win, and just give it your best. And also, I can't forget to thank Vicky and Joseph for putting this evening together. Well done, guys. Thank you so much, guys.
Great. Another hand of applause for Lucy. Okay. Chelimo Sam. She's a go-getter. She never shies away from a challenge. For her, being the CEOs of East Africa since 2017 has been an exhilarating one, especially one on the backdrop of a career in journalism and PR. She is driven by her passion and enthusiasm and eagerness. Her patience to deal with all the employees and stakeholders comes in handy. Where is she?
Good evening, everyone.
Do we have another mic? Or is there just one? Okay.
Okay, I need to use my loud voice. That's okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Good evening, Abigail. That's my daughter's name. I hope I won't be biased. Let me ask you, yes, the easiest question though. Could you share with us any of the initiatives you've taken recently to promote this profession, either inside the organization or outside the organization?
Good evening again. First of all, I think with the nomination, I realized not so many people are aware about what a PA is, or what a PA does, or what an executive assistant is. So as much as we've been rallying for votes with my colleagues and my friends, I've been also, I've also been explaining to people exactly what I do and what the role of a PA is and what they do. Because most people think, your job is just as a receptionist or as a secretary, but there's a lot more to it. So this nomination has actually given me the opportunity to tell people more about what a personal assistant is.
Hi everyone. Hi. Hi Abigail.
Hi.
Hi. So let's ask you some. We can take a short time to answer this, or take as long as you choose to.
Okay.
As a PA, you have so much pressure, like the pastor mentioned, and there's so much demand. And it's our role to be diplomats as well.
Yes.
I'm sure you've been criticized before and you've been, corrected. How have you handled situations where your work has put in 100% of your effort, and your work has literally been like, thrown in your face, or literally ripped up in your face? How have you handled that situation?
Okay, I think I have had a roller coaster in my career path. I started off as a journalist. I'm a trained journalist by profession. And then I went into PR. Now, when I was in PR, my boss, those kind of people, they call lunatics. So she was, and I used to report directly to her, because at some point I was the PR lead. So I started handling pressure from that point, because when things go wrong, she would explode. And she'd explode with, she was abusive in her tone and in her words. And she would just go off on stuff. So I learned how to handle myself in such situations and not also explode, because when two people are fighting, clearly you won't get a solution. So I learned it from there on. And then also as a journalist, there's a lot of pressure in the newsroom for you to deliver. You are time bound to deliver your stories, because they're going to press, or you are going to go on air in the next few minutes and you have to finish your story. So actually I have learned to balance pressure and to work under pressure. So when I started off as a PR, it was a new field. So when I came in, I was replacing someone who was there before for so many years, more than 15 I think. And initially, because also it was a new boss, I think we were navigating how to deal with each other and deal with the organization. So some managers said I was not friendly enough. So I was wondering, should I be smiling all the time? Others said, you appear rude, or you do this, or you do that. You're not supposed to do this. The other person was doing that and this. So at the end of it all, I think it just came at an opportune time that I went to do the CPEA course in Mombasa. So it taught me a lot, actually. So from then on, I learned, at the end of it all, people are going to talk, and they're going to say whatever they want to say. But how you deal with it, how you handle it, and how you solve the situations really matters. So I didn't take it to heart. What I did wrong, I corrected. And also I taught them in my own way how I work. So right now, actually, the managers have appreciated what I do and have appreciated me in my own, not as in the shadows of the previous people.
For Abigail. Remember, you have a minute to answer each question. If you hear me tapping, that means your time is up. Our second nominee is Audrey Mutimos. I have the zeal to keep my professional enthusiasm alive. I choose to be consistently happy and engaged in my career and stay on top of my professional game. Led by the purity of my intent and the rewards, self-motivation is my main tool of trade to complete each challenge and approach every project with a high level of integrity, enthusiasm, and professionalism. All that coupled with a positive attitude, resilience, my emotional and my moral connection to my job. A big hand of applause for Audrey.
Hi, Audrey.
Hi.
Excellent. 5 years from now, picture yourself. What do you think you'll be doing?
I've actually been picturing myself about that question a lot. I think there's so many things I want to do, but I really want my main passion has been because let me start by saying I'm an executive assistant now. I've been an executive assistant for like 10 years right now. I've never been to a secretarial school. Everything that I'm learning now is learned on the job. I've been to very little trainings because most of the places that I've been have not been very supportive of a training program. So everything that I know right now, I've learned on the job. And I've always imagined if I can sit down and learn some of these things that somebody goes to school for, then there's nothing I cannot do. I can train somebody else and somebody else. So I actually want to be a consultant.
Speaking of consulting, I am a consultant myself, and I'd love to ask you, in 1 minute, what are your strengths?
I will answer in 1 minute exactly. I have excellent, and you can ask anybody who's worked with me, emotional intelligence. I can balance, you can shout, you can jump, but we will speak and we'll speak professionally and solve the problem together.
A big round of applause for Audrey. James. All right. So I am calling the names in the order in which you received votes. So Abigail had the most online votes, then Audrey, correct? And now our third nominee is Andrew Osundwa. Andrew works as a PA to the Principal Secretary in the State Department of Public Works, Kenya, and the current chairperson of the Kenya National Secretaries Association, a professional association for office administrative secretaries industry in Kenya with a membership of over 6,000 people. He is an inspiration to people around. Many of the newly employed staff are attracted to his way of doing things. He is a mentor and the kind of person who loves to bring up good in others. Everyone has potential within. A big hand of applause for Hi, Andrew.
Hi.
How do you feel?
I'm feeling very well.
Super.
So, as a nominee or as a shortlisted candidate, what qualities do you think actually make you stand out from the rest of the crowd? Why do you think you should take the award home?
Thank you very much. I am patient. I'm patient in a manner that I'll have to wait until something happens. I am intelligent because at PA you have to conceptualize all working around. So I conceptualize every activity, and in doing that, it has enabled me to make up or to draw up a bill which is awaiting the cabinet approval for the PS in Kenya.
I'm an executive assistant as well, so I wanted to just question your patience, because in our we deal with senior management most of the times. You have a deadline, yeah? They know you're patient, and they'll push that button. How do you deal with that situation? How does your patience apply? Because most of you will agree with me at PAs that sometimes patience can be a very thin line, very, very thin line. How do you manage being professionally patient, but also being emotionally patient? Like, I want to understand that thin line, because in my responsibility, I know that sometimes you have to be the bad cop, and patience, no patience, sometimes will not work.
Patient in this manner that when I have many people coming with so much work that I have to work on it. Like I work for the principal secretary. He has given you more things to work. You are patient to interrogate the boss and tell the boss that this is how we are going to do. In a better way, good communication. That's what I meant by patient.
What would you say have been your key achievements over the last year in this career?
My key achievement, drafting a bill that is going to regulate the PAs in Kenya, is a big achievement. Another achievement, collaborating between Kenya, that's Kenya National Secretary Association, have brought together Uganda secretaries, ASAP, that is for Tanzania, and Lesotho secretaries. We have a collabo where we are having trainings annually.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our fourth nominee is Beatrice Langat.
Beatrice is the most outstanding individual I have ever come across. She handles over 10,000 employees as the PA in charge of the directors, and she does it so well. In as much as her roles entails a lot, she still finds time to help employees with other welfare issues. Her work is excellent, with a superb attitude towards work and towards assisting others to strive in their careers and lives. She is just an extraordinary PA. Big hand of applause for Beatrice.
Beatrice, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
So I've had so many E's in your profile. Extraordinary, excellent, efficient. I'd like you to tell me 3 tips on how PAs can embody those 3 words: excellence, efficiency, and extraordinary.
Thank you very much. First, as a PA, you need to have the passion of doing that work. 2, you must be confident. 3, you must be confidential. 3rd or 4th, you must have the integrity.
I have a very interesting question. Would you have any weaknesses, and what are those? Just give me one.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Yes, I have one weakness, and that is when
I have not finished my work. Incomplete task. I feel I'm haunted, though I'll make sure I complete it for it to clear my heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our fifth nominee is Elizabeth Rebecca Owano Makari. She is a driven professional with a vast experience as an executive assistant, providing overreaching administrative support, currently working at the Nairobi Hospital. Not only does she support senior management to achieve, but she also touches lives of patients who walk in their offices.
Hi, how are you? You look very visible. Okay, so my question is, the role of the PA is evolving. And so what have you done currently to kind of push on yourself or ready yourself for the change?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mercy, for the question. As we went through the training the past 3 days, technology is taking over. And as a PA, what am I doing? We thank the ABMC who have been able to give us the chartered training, which has now not only be a PA, but it has raised our role in that we become partners with our CEO. So going through the chartered training, it has helped me to understand that the role of a PA is not only doing the daily thing, but you become a strategic partner with your CEO in order to be able to help your CEO, deliver especially in a world of evolving. Every day there's evolving changes, and so going through the training, this has put me on a level whereby I understand my role better than now being that old secretary. Yeah.
Thank you, Elizabeth. My question to you is, what initiatives have you been able to do in the last year to enable your CEO or the hospital to promote this profession?
My HR director is here. When I went to Ghana to do the CPA, I came and told her that we need to enrich the secretaries, and I have been able to work with her to look for trainings to enrich the secretaries at the hospital to be able to perform, to become also partners. Not only me, it will also make it easier for me, since I'm the EA in the hospital. Working with them now, it will be easier with the heads of departments going through that training. Now it helps them understand, especially right now we are doing our strategic plan for 2024. Now when it comes to implementation of the strategic plan, they will be able to understand, especially now that the HR, the training that I proposed to her, to be able to take them through. And when it comes to the implementation, we will not be having challenges. Everyone, they will take the role, at the top and be able to support their heads of departments. So I have been able to give proposals to our HR to train the secretaries that are at the hospital.
Our next nominee is Jacqueline Maura. She says, my role takes a diplomatic approach in transforming challenges into everyday opportunities, a jack of all trades. My intrinsic motivation is derived from the overall success of my executive. A big hand of applause for Jacqueline.
Hi, JD. Quick question. Over the last year, can you give us a scenario where you practiced problem solving? Give us a scenario where you solved something.
I've been working as a personal assistant at Raw Media since 2015. Since I joined, I can say for the last year, one major thing that I've done is play a key role in the travel arrangements for the whole company. When I joined, it was very difficult for guys to get flights to different places because there was nothing put in place. But I was able to come in hand and be a travel consultant of sorts, and that has really helped the company.
Hi. I know currently one of the biggest challenges that we're facing globally is a work-life balance. And so my question is channeled to that. What have you done in your personal life for the last 1 year that you feel proudest of? And can you share, if you're okay with sharing that?
Actually, I have a baby. I gave birth in December. So that was challenging in my work because can imagine going on maternity leave and leaving my executive without anyone to help him, actually. So one thing I'm proud of is that I managed to go through my whole pregnancy and I was still able to help him online at home. Even when I was on maternity, I was still able to go through my work and able to raise my baby.
A big hand of applause for Jacqueline. Our next nominee is Juliet Ngatia. Juliet prides herself with 5 years of experience in customer service and 1 year in her current role. She is an accountant by profession. Her personality is epic, as she is very hardworking, loves challenges, and she doesn't bow to problems. She tries her level best to resolve them. Her motto in life is to promote equality. Treat people the way you would like to be treated. A big round of applause for Juliet.
Yeah, hi, Juliet. My question to you is, how have you dealt with one of the worst objections or criticisms you've ever had to go through?
My hardest criticism came from my boss when he felt like I was not pushing the senior management to the levels that he would want in terms of tracking and all. What I did is that I went back to my desk, reflected, and asked myself, Juliet, what is it that we can do better? And what I did, I went and approached the business analyst who normally tracks the strategy. We came up with a document so that we can be able to track each and every initiative and do a snap check of where we are in terms of strategy.
You know, conflict is the order of the day in the workplace. Many times people fight. Assuming that your boss is in conflict with another executive at the same level, how would you handle that scenario as a peer?
Conflict management is not an easy thing, but most of the time is you try and I remain calm and get to see where is this conflict coming from? What is that area? What is causing this? So I try and come up with a way of resolving the matter. Maybe I get to approach my boss and in a different way, not to tell him directly that what you're doing is the conflict that is there, but I try and show him this is the way you can be able to manage it, to maneuver around it and restore the peace that is required. For me, I work in Faulu is a subsidiary of UAP Old Mutual, which is Old Mutual is the mother, and we have several bosses. My boss has a boss. So what I normally try to do is just advise him. Maybe like there's a meeting that he does not maybe want to attend. 2 seconds. Okay. What I normally do is show him the importance of attending that meeting.
Our next nominee is Lightness Goodwin from Tanzania. I believe she's not here. So I think we'll skip that to Shun to answer any questions. The next one is Rose A. Osege, a professional, experienced office administrator, personnel assistant, working in the era of a demanding environment. She's practice-based, driven in her duties than being desk-like, supportive of the traditional personal assistant, thus agile in her skills. She is passionate in societal activities where currently she promotes and participates in the Market Women UN Women Group Association and holds a certificate in recognition of having been an executive secretary of a staff council. I grow to polish. I think something was cut off. A big kind of applause for Rose.
Hi Rose, how are you? Good, congratulations so far. My question today, I saw you in the class this week. My question will go back to some of the lessons that this wonderful facilitator took you through. I'd like for you to summarize for me 3 key important skills that you believe that a PA of the future or the PA in this century will thrive. What are those top skills?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, panel. The 3 important top skills that a present PA should possess are one should be a person of very, very high integrity, where this entails your personal and your professional skills of ensuring that you are seen at a level of a person who is very intelligent. Then 2, you should be a person who is very, who ensures that you don't divulge information that comes across your way as you work or as you handle your duties. Then 3, as a PA, you should always ensure that you endeavor to make sure that you diverse your education or your profession by, ensuring that you try to strive for courses, training, and maybe you encourage yourself in attending workshops.
Hi, Rose. So 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Thank you, Sarah. 5 years from now, as a PA, I would want to see myself. Being self-employed, meaning that I would also want to have this opportunity of maybe being a presenter like Sarah. Though of course I know Sarah's skills are very excellent, but they say you don't belittle small things, you start from small things and the sky is the limit. So I would want to see myself being a trainer.
Our next nominee is Wendy Kinyeki. Wendy is a determined, hardworking, and dedicated individual. With over 10 years' experience in her field, she is a skilled multitasker and an expert communicator. Born and raised in Kenya and currently based in Senegal, Wendy has had the opportunity to work in the arenas of sports and education. For Wendy, with a career spanning 2 African regions and a working knowledge of 5 languages, being a PA is not just a job, it is a call to service. A big hand of applause for Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi.
Organizations that thrive, they learn to promote their own brands. What steps are you taking to promote the personal brand called Wendy so that it stands out?
Thank you very much for that question. Having been an executive assistant and a PA for about 14 years now, I will tell you proudly that this is my 2nd nomination this year. My first nomination was executive PA out of Australia. It was a global selection. I was one of 6 finalists from Africa and one of 41 globally. So my personal brand, I personify that in what I do every day. I have had the pleasure and the blessing to work with 2 international organizations, one of which has had me have a network in 10 African countries, 2 South American countries, and 2 Asian countries. So what I do every day, as I said, mine is a passion. What I do, how I deal with people every day is my brand, how I represent myself as well.
Following on the brand theme, if I went on your LinkedIn today and I checked out your testimonials, what would they say?
That's an interesting question. I probably should do that myself. Having said that, I know that once I put up my nomination as the executive PA, and when I put up this nomination, most of the reactions and testimonials I got were positive, with people telling me I deserved it, that I have earned it, and I would be hard-pressed, because I have not seen any, to see anything negative on my LinkedIn or any other of my social medias.
Our next nominee is Brenda Ninsima. Being an East African over the years has transformed me into a great manager of both people and time. It's more than a job, but rather than a passion for me. At the end of the day, a notch higher moved by the company makes me proud. A big hand of applause for Brenda.
Brenda. How are you? Good. I see you have we shared name. That won't bias me. So we live in an environment that has like this unprecedented attack from like everywhere. The demands are higher. The pressure to be perfect at everything on time is higher. We seem to have less hours in the day than people maybe 50 years had. I don't know. I feel that. How do you manage your time? How do you get everything done and balance out your family, your work? How do you manage your time?
Thank you and good evening. How I manage my time? I have a diary. I keep a diary. It's very important for me, both on my phone and on my desk. I try to balance between work and homework never ends. So when I'm drawing out my diary, I put on my own time. I have my personal time. And when it's time to take my personal time, I take it. Some things will come up here and there, but I always try to make sure that I keep to my diary.
Hi there. Many people choose professions for different reasons. Some are thrust into professions because their mother wants them to go into that profession. What made you choose this particular one?
The reason I chose this profession is because I like dealing with people. I like interacting with people. I was actually a procurement person before I went into this. But it was a bit backdoor and I needed to be out in the open. So I changed career slowly and I moved into being an EA, and it has really been worth it. I like interacting with people. I like talking to people. I like making friends, knowing people, networking, and that's the reason I went into this profession.
And the last one. All right, a big hand of applause for all the nominees. Now, James, people move online to vote. I hope you paid attention to everyone and remember their faces. The Intercon and Joseph have been courteous to give us Wi-Fi. Right there is the password. So log on with your Wi-Fi. The password is Karibu.net. Karibu.net. And then you will go to the africanpa.com/vote.
Yes, /vote. Then you select your preferred candidate. Then you click on vote.
How many times can you vote?
Just once. You vote once.
You spoke of being people of integrity. Please vote once.
Then you are given only 10 minutes to vote. Then you're going to close the poll.
So you only vote once for one person?
Yes.
So then you can go back and vote for another person? Or
No.
After you vote, remember?
It is going to show you already voted.
Okay. So it will lock you out?
Yes.
No rigging? Do I get to vote too? Does my vote count?
Yes. Your vote counts.
All I require for life, God has given me. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. When He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. When He says I'm at.
Abigail Chelimo!
Good evening, all. I don't have words to really say because this is quite shocking to me. When I was send people the link to vote for me, they could see the girls. Once they see the girls, they said, we confused ourselves, we saw some beautiful girls. So I didn't know that I'd get the votes. But I don't know what the judges have seen in me. Thank you so much. The owners or the programmers of this event, Mr. Madrid, I'm so humbled to this far. May God bless you. Thank you very much.
Alright, time for confettis. Did you turn off my mic?
Your
stage, we take a photo with you. Nominees, please come on stage, we take a photo with you. I also have certificates. Yes? Certificates. The nominees come on stage. The certificates. Yeah, yes. Can we do the work together? Certificates and gifts. Okay. And you've been together all week. You can move a little closer. Can we turn off these lights? They're actually hot. They're burning. Thank you. All right, the photographer is there. Okay. You can read. My God is too low. My God is too low. Rose. Rose.
like the sign.
Yeah? You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, so before we continue and give the next person their gifts, I just wanted to make an offer that I rarely make. I'm going to give 2 free mentorship sessions to Audrey. Simply because she's self-taught. Let me tell you, I know it's not easy. So, well done.
Thank you.
I hope we'll have those sessions. We'll build you up.
Thank you.
Next, Brenda. All right, all the nominees back on stage. You take photos with the judges before you leave.
Sorry. Not yet.
event would not have been a success if all of you had not come. First of all, let's give a hand to every single one of you who is here. We want to thank the organizers of the event, the African PA Magazine, ABMC International. Thank you for yet another successful event. Let's give them a hand. What a powerful team. To all the nominees that were nominated, every single one of you is a winner. Every single one of you has been nominated, and it means there's something right you are doing. Let's give them a hand one more time. We want to thank the hotel that has given us accommodation to be here and allowed us to come and celebrate our own. We want to thank our wonderful judges. Give them a hand. Who have I left out? Thank you, Pastor, for praying for us and opening. Whatever started in prayer, it should also end in prayer. At some point, we'll ask you, Pastor, to come and really do an official closing. Thank you to our wonderful MC who has managed to really coordinate this event. Give a hand. Let's give the MC a hand. Exactly. If I didn't mention...
I do this on the regular. You can ask for my business card. Yeah, thank you.
If I didn't mention you by name, please feel thanked tonight. We are so grateful. We have an attitude of gratitude tonight towards your being here, your presence, your wishing us well, and for sure, for being here, you made this event a success. Pastor, you started in prayer. We want you to close in prayer. Let's give Pastor a moment to just pray for us.
Loving Father, we come before you once again to thank you so much for the success of this event. We give honor and glory to you. We thank you for making everything work well. We thank you for making sure that, for making possible for everyone who came today. And we honor you, Lord, that as we leave, you're going to go with us. You'll give us journey mercies. And we thank you even for our winner and those of us who have also won in different ways. We thank you. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
My name is Abigail Sung. I became the second runner-up at the 2019 East Africa PA Award Kenya category. I took second place.
I'm the winner of this award. I'm very excited because when the tally was going on, I was number 3. But I did not know what the judges saw in me that I was able to win this award.
It has been a pleasure competing alongside other worthy nominees with real experience.
But I'm a winner among winners. Every single nominee tonight is at the top of their game, and I just happen to be the second best.
So it's a bit challenging, but I have decided to walk in this journey. I've been able to get award. This is the 3rd award I'm receiving now because of working well in this profession.
We say we are all winners. There's no one who's a loser, and we are looking forward, encouraging for those who want to join. This is our platform. We should make the noise. We want to be known. We want to appreciate the PA Awards, and we want to appreciate our fraternity simply because we do support our organization in big time.
This week has been phenomenal. We broke records. We had a magnificent number of people participating in the PA conference that we had. The theme for the conference was moving these PAs to become strategic partners for their bosses, for their organizations, to make them realize what contribution they can make to make sure the organizations are a success. So we started off with myself opening the program, and as I chaired the entire program, we had Suzette coming all the way from Cape Town, South Africa. We had Mercy Katera coming all the way from Uganda. Against all odds, so many things she faced, she will tell you about those. We also had Sarah Richson, who also took the team through emotional intelligence and many other topics. And last but not least, who else spoke? I would say those are the main speakers that spoke, but at the end of the day, it was about building them to manage their careers, to get to the top of whatever they do in their lives. Can you talk about the events, Mercy?
And like you mentioned, actually, just to add a little bit to what he said, this was one of the most amazing classes. There are very eager to learn. You'd stand at the top of a class and you literally see faces beaming. There was no dull face in there. And this says so much about the PA and the profession and how much it actually progressed so far, and the willingness to learn and the willingness to actually grow themselves and the willingness to make themselves relevant in this particular era, and just the willingness to be better for themselves, for the companies and for their bosses is absolutely amazing. I think it's been a very productive week.
Fantastic.
Besides, of course, having the attendees and the students that were in the class this week, we also learned from each other as a team. And like you said, it just kind of felt like we gelled and like one presentation led to the other, and it's like it felt like a conversation to the point that like it ended and we didn't want it to end. The day couldn't have ended better on a higher note.
Exactly.
And of course, to crown everything, we had an amazing evening. Awarding the PA of the Year, East Africa PA of the Year for 2019. We had over 12 contestants, and ultimately we had about 9 who made it to the final cuts. Everyone amazing in their own right. They did an amazing job to raise the profile of the PA, to do different, small initiatives in their departments, in their offices, to raise the profile. And very pleased with the winner today, who is a gentleman, and like the stereotype of the profession and the industry, there's always a lady who's a secretary, who's a PA. I was very happy that we got a male as a leader who is doing so much. He's breaking barriers. He's doing so much to actually legitimize, not just verbally on in a word, just in a word, but he's actually going ahead and actually he submitted a bill. It says that actually going to legitimize the profession and have people have like a pay and have them recognized and things like that. And so he's doing an amazing job. And I think personally I was very inspired by every aspirant. And I think people are really destined to take this career to a broader level. I think for very many years we were told to just like lead from the back line. I just kind of like know your place and take your place and just humble yourself and just but it's amazing to see that we've grown past that era where the PA is playing a significant role in the organization, and ABMC has actually really done an amazing job year after year. This is the 4th year running, and the award is going bigger and bigger, expanding into other countries. Amazing. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Vicky, for giving PAs this platform to be recognized, to be appreciated, and to feel that they actually contribute and it's appreciated.
Fantastic.
So thank you very much for offering everyone this platform.
For those who like to participate next year, they need to be in a position where they make real impact in their jobs and not let the word, when they're told you're just a mere secretary, or when you're told, your work is just to sit there and pick phone calls and schedule meetings. They need to know they're worth much more. What
I would encourage for 2020 is to ensure they keep checking what is happening under African PA. We'll also be launching again the African PA magazine and other activities around the year. So its initiative is to ensure that they're able to get a benchmark to highlight what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, and also highlight their professionalism in the PA sector.
All we can urge you is that this career is changing over time. Over the next couple of years, with the coming of artificial intelligence and many other technologies that are coming on board, it's the age of disruption we're in. Become a problem solver. No longer do bosses want just somebody who talks about problems, they also want solutions. Become a critical thinker. Become a contributor of solutions. That's what makes you relevant at the end of the day. Keep reading, keep studying, keep pursuing that which you are passionate about. That's what we want. We want people who step onto the plate and take responsibility and take accountability, and above all, manage stakeholders of various shapes, forms and sizes all across. So those who want to get into this arena, a very exciting one, a very dynamic one, we urge you, get onto the plate. You may never know what you're capable of until you step out of the boat, out of the comfort zone. The most dangerous place to ever be is in a place of comfort. Challenge yourself to keep achieving, to keep studying, to keep doing those things that you never thought were possible. You will surprise yourself.
Just to add to what he says perfectly amazing. I don't want to dilute it, but what I can say from my experience as a PA or as an executive assistant, for people that are still in the industry and for those that are coming, the one piece of advice that I would give you is that make yourself relevant at whichever position that you'll be. We have this tendency to fall back into our roles and be very comfortable with where we are. No one wants comfort. No one wants to be in a comfortable spot. Once you get into that spot, then you're not growing, yeah? So reinvent yourself. Innovation is the next big thing. It's the next employable skills. Be creative, be innovative, find a space in your environment where you can actually make an impact. Just take a minute, sit back and study the processes, study your environment, see where can I be the most relevant, what are my skills, what am I good at, why do I do this? Then harness that and make the most of that, because that's where we're going. The future employment, that tomorrow is how relevant can it be? Are you an asset to the company? So PAs back in the day were limited to very secretarial tasks, they are money tasks, but it's progressed right now. Personally, I do a lot more than just a typical PA. I sit on big meetings, but I must be able to read and process information and learn as much as a high level delegate.
Yeah.
And so don't limit yourself. You are your own limitation. You're the only what's it called? Ceiling. You are yourself. So push yourself, learn as much as you can, learn about your environment, learn about current affairs, learn about your companies, learn about everything you could possibly learn to equip yourself. The more knowledge you have, the more equipped you are, the more updated you are with technology, the more you are on the pulse. I say this all the time. Keep your finger on the pulse. You must be updated.
Yeah.
Know what's happening. Latest technology, because ultimately you're the advisor to the company CEO, to the company boss. These are decision makers. If you are slow and you're not relevant to them, they will throw you out as soon as possible. And don't wait for them to tell you what to do. You should be the one to advise them. So make yourself very relevant. And our role is actually really changing. So be ready for that change. That's all I can tell you.
Fantastic. You can be whoever you want to be.
Yes.
You can transition from PA to executive assistant to even become the executive. You just need to remove the word assistant. You can become the executive. There's lots of advantages for being in this particular career. You have access to almost whatever the CEO has access to or director has access
Actually,
to.
have a bad eye
So
view.
there we
you
go.
do.
Bird's eye view.
Yeah.
More than many other executives. So aspire to get into the career and let's see how we can develop Africa.
I appreciate the opportunity and I'm so grateful for everyone I've met today, for the opportunity that I've been granted, and I look forward to networking with everyone I've met today, and maybe, just maybe, you might see me back next year.